Hi everyone, welcome to the Advantage Learning Bytes at Coffee Conversation powered by the Emerging India Forum TIFF, the Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, India Business Group IBG, Indian Chamber of International Business ICIB, and Prime Infotech Solution. Today's theme is Startup 101, Unveiling the Secrets for a Successful Startup. In the Advantage Learning Byte session, we invite a subject expert speaker for mini coffee conversation to share their knowledge on a very trending topic. I am Jolly Singh, associate with Prime Infotech Solution, and today we will be having our conversation with Mr. Manpreet. He is currently consulting on large infrastructure projects and sourcing of commodities like rice, wheat, coffee, etc. So, very welcome, Manpreet, sir. We are very excited to have this mini coffee conversation with you today. And let's get started with the very first question for today, and that would be what are some of key qualities or characteristics that successful startup entrepreneurs possess?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. And a big thank you to Lions Club and Lan Viraniji. So, definitely a pleasure. Well, it's a very relevant question that you asked me. What are the qualities or characteristics for successful entrepreneurs? Now, first of all, the moment you mention successful entrepreneurs, I would say that the moment you call yourself an entrepreneur, you are successful. That's the first stepping stone. So that is what you have to recognize, that every entrepreneur, the moment you become an entrepreneur, you are successful. Yes, the degree of success might vary. Some might be more successful, some might be less successful. That's a very different thing. But you have taken a decision to take the things in your own hand, and you are supposed to pick up everything, get going, push yourself, push your limits. So I think that is something that really begins, and that is the beginning of being a successful entrepreneur. And of course, leadership qualities, ability to learn, having patience. I think these are some of the things that are really important when you talk about being a successful entrepreneur.
So how important is it for startup entrepreneurs to have a clear and compelling value proposition for their product or service? Can you provide some of the insights into developing a strong value proposition?
Jolly, this is a very relevant question. What I have seen is today, the moment you talk about startups, entrepreneurship, everybody is an entrepreneur. And I like I said, that's the first step. But there are 99 more to go. And that is what you're supposed to understand, that yes, well begun is good, and it is 50% of the journey done. But the rest 50 is one of the most difficult one for every entrepreneur. So the moment you talk about what is important for a startup and having a value proposition for a product, let me talk about examples. For example, you go to a mall or a store and you want to buy, let's say, a pack of noodles. The moment you go to the shelf of noodles, you have like 10 brands today. So, one, definitely I would say brand recognition. Because the moment you think about noodles, you have one particular brand fixated in your mind. I would not like to name the brands, for obvious reasons. But this is what happens, and then you have like four or five other brands right next to that. And the moment you are having these five or six options, you started looking, the next thing that you look at is the price. You pick it up, you turn it around, you say, okay, this brand, this is the price, this brand, this is the price. And then you start eliminating by price first. And then you see that suddenly there is one brand which is more expensive than the most common brand that you know. And then you're like, why is this expensive? Then you start reading other things on the label, that okay, why is it expensive? And this is like every shopper's nightmare, if you ask me. So one, you have something that you are familiar with. You have few brands that are cheaper, and then there are few brands that are expensive. So for an entrepreneur or for a person who's putting out his product in the market, what is the value that he or she is bringing onto the table? That is very important. And this is what we fail to understand as entrepreneurs. It always says that I have the best product in the market. But yes, you may be having, but you have to convince your customer why it is the best product, which is what most of the startups or brands fail to do. You know you're the best, but how do you convince somebody else that you're the best? And that is what makes all the difference. So when you're talking about value proposition, yes, brand recognition, the packaging, the price, how you are different from the competition is what matters. Sometimes it's all about packaging. I'll give you one example. There was this company that came out with a brand of chips, 200 rupees a packet. And what was there in that chips? What was different? Well, it was made by Bhut Jolakia. That was the flavor which is the spiciest chili in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
But the proposition was not that. The proposition of that brand was the packet this big had only one chip in that worth 200 rupees. Just one chip. Can you imagine? So initially, for curiosity, people took that. Okay, the packaging was good and everything. But as and when the brand picked up, what started happening is they became careless, or I don't know, the packaging, the transport, whatever, that one chip used to come crumbled or broken. So then people were like, if I'm spending 200 rupees for one chip and that also the company cannot give me in a proper packaging, I mean, then what is left? So the brand failed. So these are two examples that I'm saying. So the value proposition is quality of the product and how it is valuable for the price that you're asking for it. That is most important. It's saying the same like a handbag made in, let's say, a company in the slums exporting to a top brand of the world. So the moment the label is put on it, it is worth lakhs of rupees. The moment the person removes the label and sells it from his factory, it's worth hundreds. So you have to understand that also. So that is where the importance of the brand and the recognition comes. So you have to create your brand. You have to ensure that you convince your customer of your value. I think these are the important aspects.
All right, sir. Can you discuss the role of market research and competitor analysis, as you mentioned while the explaining the value proposition thing, that looking at your competitor and preparing your proposition according to that is very important. So, can you discuss the role of market research and competitor analysis in shaping the business strategy in a startup?
Jolly, this is one aspect that most startups ignore. You know, they always come and say, "This is the product that I made. It is the best." Of course, you would love your product. There's nothing wrong. It may be the best, but you have to understand what you're competing with in the very first place. It's like saying Ford once upon a time came up with a vehicle and they started with the one color black, and they started telling their customers, "We'll give you any color as long as it is black." So, you know, you have to understand that yes, if you're a monopoly, you can do whatever you want. But those days are gone. Today, even if you buy the top end vehicles, you will still go and tell them that, you know, I want this more or this less, or this is not good or this is not right. And you get it customized. So, customization for a top end product has become important. So, you have to understand first what your competition is doing. First, it is very important for market research and competitor analysis, because otherwise, if there is monopoly, fine. There's nothing wrong in that. You do whatever you want. But you are competing, you are a company, you want to grow, you want to establish yourself in the long run. If you want to do all that, you have to know what you are standing up against. You don't want to be called a fly by night operator. You don't want to be called, oh, you know, das aaye, das gaye types. You want to be a product or a service that stays for decades. So the first thing that an entrepreneur or a startup has to do is have a mindset that tells him that yes, I'm going to be there for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You have to convince yourself of that first. And for that, you have to do a research saying that, one, what problem is your product solving to your customer? For example, you talk about garments, footwear, anything. So, in these things, comfort is most important, sustainability is important, comfort, how you it feels when you wear the product is important. So, you have to do your homework when it comes to your product or segment. And you have to then go and see that for you to stand in a market, what is the competitor doing or not doing that you can cash upon? For example, you know, you have so many of these Chinese brands coming in who are just saying that, oh, we are the cheapest t-shirt manufacturer, for example. But when I wear a t-shirt, I want it to be comfortable when I'm walking or going out. So price is not everything. Yes, if I want to maybe give a t-shirt which is to be worn for just 2 hours for a marathon, for example, it doesn't make a difference. But if I want to wear a t-shirt every day to go to gym, something that touches me, touches my skin, I want it to be comfortable. I want it to be good. These are the things that you have to understand. So if everything, for example, is synthetic in the market, come out with something different and tell your customer what is different about you. That is very important. So these are the things that you have to understand, what is important, why customer analysis is important, and why you have to convince your research team, your marketing team that do your homework well. You have to analyze what your strategy should be. Analyzing your strategy is one of the most important things which brands fail today. So yes, definitely these are the things that you have to take care about. Jolly, I can't hear you. Are you on mute?
Yes, sir. So,
Perfect.
what is the importance of networking and building relationships in the startup ecosystem, and what strategies can entrepreneurs employ to expand their network while
This is my
developing their
favorite question. I am a person who just networks, and incidentally end up selling my product or service. So networking is everything. It is the power, like they say, your network is your net worth. But for example, let's talk about social media platforms. Let's say I have 50,000 followers, but if I'm not using those 50,000 followers, what's the use? If I have a professional network like LinkedIn, for example, and I'm having 15,000 connection, but if I never interact with them, I never speak to them, and just keep boasting to everybody, oh, I have 15,000, can I have you also as part of the team? You can have 100,000 followers and have no use at all. There are some celebrities who boast of millions of followers, but there's no engagement whatsoever. So, what kind of a follower base would that be? I mean, why would you be present on social media if you're not interacting? I mean, just to show your next big director that, oh, you are followed by so many people. I mean, it doesn't add value to your income. It doesn't add value to how you're growing. So, if you want to grow in life, you have to leverage your network. So, having a network is one thing, and using your network is the other. Let me give you a very common example. We all visit exhibitions. The moment we are back from an exhibition, we have this big bundle of visiting cards. So most of you all, or us, most of us, we select what is important, we keep there, and that's it. But it may be possible that we must have missed out on something. So the moment your strategy should be, you send an introductory email to all those people, you send a follow-up email, you have a database, you maintain your connectivity. But that doesn't mean that you start sending everybody WhatsApp messages, good morning, good evening. You have to maintain a professional approach, and people should value when you send a message or an email to somebody. That is most important. So engage with your network. That is one of the most important things. So importance of network is very important. Though there were times before where you could go to exhibitions, you could travel, you could meet, but now the number of people or number of opportunities is huge. There are so many chambers of commerces, organizations, B2B meetings, network. We have IBG, we have ICIB, we have BNI, we have Rotary, we have Lions. We have so many opportunities. And this is what we have to meet people. You have to share your story. This is what I tell everybody. Treat yourself as the hero of your own story. If you don't value yourself or your product, it's no use whatsoever living this life, honestly speaking. So value yourself, value your product, value your service, make a story out of that, make a decision, show yourself what you do, and that is what is more important. You have to look forward to creating the value of this network and using this network and sustaining this network. So sustainability of network is also important, which people fail. So this is why I say, once again, your network is your network, but it's useless if you don't use it.
absolutely, sir. So, can you discuss the significance of networking? Sorry, What are common challenges or obstacles that startup entrepreneurs may face, and how they can navigate these challenges to ensure long term success?
See, there are lots of challenges for an entrepreneur and especially for a startup. So, first, you have to understand that getting a right product or service, then making sure that people know about your service. These are all the challenges. And when all this is done, you should have a marketing plan, should have funding to execute that marketing plan, and you have to have a distribution system, a marketing system, awareness, and simultaneously you have to take care of a distribution system. Take care as in having a distribution system is one thing, taking care of your distribution thing is another. So you can always have five distributors and tell them that, okay, I'm giving you this product, getting it this back, but a distributor might have 10 products to take care of. So you have to ensure that you value your network of distribution. Research and development is the biggest challenge that I think many companies in India and abroad also ignore that. So you have to ensure that if you want a long-term success, the obstacles will always be there. The challenges will always be there, but you have to face them. See, they say that failure is a stone to success. We were taught in school, but we forget that. If you really ask me about my journey, I must have tried 100 businesses and failed in 90 of them. Can you imagine? But I mean, it's a learning experience. But if those 10 out of 100 work out, they will definitely more than compensate for the 90 that you have failed. And trust me, when I talk about this, I must have failed in the first 40 or 45 of them. So the success comes much later. And then you have another kahawat, which is patience and perseverance can move mountains. These are the things that I use in day to day life because we forget that. These are all made with experience of people. We think that no, these are just idioms and phrases and doesn't apply in real life. But I think this is really applicable because I've gone through it myself. And I talk from examples of my own life also. So definitely you have to understand that obstacles and challenges will be there, and startups should navigate these. They should work, they should have a long-term approach. And sometimes having a long-term approach, you have to understand when to stop, which people don't adhere to. You should always have a stop loss. Whatever the business might be, you should know when to stop. And this is what we fail.
Okay, sir. Sir, how important is the financial management and planning of a startup? And what are the key financial considerations should entrepreneurs keep in mind?
This is the most difficult question for any entrepreneur, including myself, because everybody will tell you when you don't need money, everybody will come and say, take money from us and invest in your business. The moment you say, and I want money, people will say, why do you want money? And nobody will give it to you. So the moment finance comes for any entrepreneur or startup, boss, you have to understand, you have to make your own arrangements by hook or by crook because it is your business. You know why you need it. And you have to have the ability and the power to convince the other person why you really need it. But if you sound desperate, nobody gives it to you. And that goes true for private bankers, financiers, any banking institution, NBFC, anybody. The moment you say you want money, 1,000 questions. But the moment everything is hunky dory, "Arey, please take this, we have this." No. It's as simple as that you getting 100 calls every day to take a loan. But the moment you want a loan and you tell them, they will be like, we need this paper, this is not okay, that is not okay. It's as simple as that. So, yes, that is more important. But this is where the challenge begins. The moment you have the fund that you need, you have to not squander it off. Have a contingency, keep some portion of that aside. People might tell you, no, no, invest in the stock market, you will get more money. But contingency means not touching it. Even if it has to be kept as an FD, just keep it there. People will tell you, oh, what is 5% interest? You will get much more. But you have to realize your core business is not earning on your capital. It is investing your capital in your business and making the capital work for you. which is what we all fail to understand. Most of us fail to understand. And then we deploy our contingency elsewhere, and when we really need it, we are short of funds. That is why most entrepreneurs are short of funds most of the time. But the smart ones have found ways out to manage that. So this is what you have to understand, that financial discipline, if you ask me, is very important. And you have to keep track. It is not only discipline, you have to ensure that you have a buffer also. For example, you have a research going on. So you want to bring a new product to the market. You've kept, say, 10,000 rupees for that, or 10 million for that matter. And then halfway through that, you realize your budget is exhausted, but you are very close to that and you need a little more. So always have some contingency that will carry forward till the time you have efforts taken to add to that capital. So you have to have always a buffer in all segments. Treat your sub businesses as separate profit centers. This is important. So because, for example, your marketing department, your production department, they should all have call themselves profit centers. Only then you will actually generate a profit. But don't run after only profits, because the moment you start running after only money, you will start cutting corners where it is not needed, and then your product fails. This is what you have to always keep in mind, that cheap is not everything, but like we discussed earlier, value proposition. You can have your price and command it too if your product is good. So financial discipline, one of the most important thing. Realistic financial management and planning is very important.
Okay, sir. So, coming to the last question for the day, what advice would you give to the aspiring startup entrepreneurs who are just starting their journey?
Be yourself, be happy, spend time with your family. Money will always come if you put in hard work and you have destiny with you. Don't put everything just for saying that, oh no, we will do this tomorrow. Never do that. It is always live. You have to understand, why do you work? You want to have a better life, you want to have a happy life, you want to do better for your family. That's why you are doing something. You want to achieve something in life, right? But if in that process, that journey is very important. You shouldn't forget that, or maybe, we always see that an 80-year-old person will say he has everything but he has no happiness. You keep hearing these stories. Or they had family disputes of large corporations, or the business just died out when he was at 70 plus. So these experiences have taught me one thing, that if you want to use your money for yourself, please do it. That doesn't mean squander your money, but yes, if you are having, even if you're an entrepreneur, keep a salary for yourself. It is not easy, trust me. An entrepreneur to say that you give 10,000 rupees to yourself, you will say, "Arey, ye 10 crore ka business pura hi mera hai." So, yeah, what will I do with 10,000 rupees? But it is this 10,000 rupees that you can spend however you want without anybody asking you questions, because it is your salary. I mean, this is what you don't understand, because the moment you are using the company's fund, there is no limit to that. So have a vision in mind, have a goal in mind, try to achieve your goals, set benchmarks for yourself. See, you're not competing with the whole world, you're competing with yourself. Being over competitive is also not good. So spend time with yourself, read a book, read a newspaper. Trust me, sometimes good business leads come through newspapers and magazines. I have personal experiences. And you attend all networking sessions, you don't spend time with your family is telling you, what are you doing? And at the end of the day, if you have few $1 million in your bank account, and your children are spending it somewhere else and you don't even know where they are, what's the point? So live life, enjoy life, and work for yourself. Don't work for financial institutions or your customers or your suppliers. This is what you always keep in mind.
Thank you so much, Manpreet sir, for giving your valuable time. I'm sure our audience are very delighted and incited with this amazing session that we had today. We have addressed very important topics and questions today. Thank you so much. We are very grateful to you. And those who were not able to catch us live, they can always go to our YouTube channel, The Coffee Conversation Show, and catch us there. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We always come up with different guests and with different set of topics to talk upon. And it would be very great to have all of you there as a part of our family and journey. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jolly. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Same here, sir.
Thank you.